Welcome back to Next Gen Investing. It's time to discuss the latest under 30 name, today being Rigetti Computing, which is having a pretty nice session alongside a lot of the strength we're seeing in quantum, but with its own specific story today. So joining us now is George Tsilis, Senior Markets Correspondent for the network. So George, walk us through this deal, because the Air Force Research Laboratory is where we're seeing the strength today, but also, again, broader quantum strength across the board.
Yeah, I mean, across the board, we are still seeing just a trend continuation in these names. And, this is clearly a next generation technology, high performance computing. It's much like in terms of results to classical computing, but you end up getting there much faster. And we know that there's just tremendous amounts of capital expenditures going into, parallel computing and GPU technologies associated with NVIDIA and data centers and artificial intelligence. And quantum computing is in that camp as well. But the business itself, has been growing. It's still small in terms of sales, but I think today's announcement with the Air Force contract for processing and quantum computing needs as a service brings more credibility to Rigetti. If you look at the deal, it's worth about $5.8 million. Now that's relatively small compared to the market capitalization, which is $7 billion, and that was as of the close yesterday. But it is a significant improvement considering that last year Rigetti only earned around $8 million in total sales. So this is basically more than double the full annual sales, and it gives you some backlog visibility in terms of their sales to credible end markets and, of course, customers like the Department of Defense.
Okay, so as far as now, looking forward, because I know that these contracts are huge and obviously provide a stability that the street appreciates, but also, is there any degree of skepticism when you assess a name like Rigetti, given the fact that it's run up so far, so fast? I mean, the same could be said for any of these quantum stocks, but just to keep some fair balance here, I mean, is there then any degree of risk when you look at names that have such exuberance to the upside?
There's obviously some risks. And the challenge with fundamental analysis is it's a very terrible timing tool, to be honest with you. So Rigetti, from a fundamental standpoint, one would say it's excessive in terms of sales and even forward sales, by the way. Next year, they're estimated at $20 million in sales. So if you just do the math relative to the market cap, the price to sales is just outrageous. But it doesn't necessarily matter as long as there's momentum and buyers. And that's clearly the case. Look at earnings as well. And we talk about this all the time, Jenny, when stocks, the best moves in stocks typically happen when the company gets a bit closer towards adjusted profitability. Next year, the company is still expected to lose money at 16 cents. It's better than 28 cents of a loss this year. So they're getting closer to that level. But nonetheless, you have to be mindful that momentum can carry stocks, and the secular trends in these names are also carrying them. But volatility is, you have to expect that. Obviously, you don't necessarily want to put all your eggs in one basket in any case. And because, right now there's a lot of favorability in the smaller cap space, secular technologies, and interest rates are also creating a favorable backdrop for growth stocks, which this is. But again, valuation is very high relative to price, but it doesn't necessarily mean it can't go from here. And that's why you have to have two mindsets, longer term value investing mindset or a trader's mindset. A trader's mindset has been working out quite well for this name.
It absolutely has. So, you can't necessarily argue with the momentum and the price activity we have seen in a lot of these names, where if you were betting against several of them, you would be, on the wrong side of history as it stands right now. But appreciate that. Really great commentary today. George Tsilis, Senior Markets Correspondent for the network.